My boyfriend said, "Ugh, you're so controlling, I can wear whatever I want before our family dinner." I said, "Absolutely." What he didn't expect was my response when we finally arrived at that restaurant. His confidence, that massive, shiny, in-your-face confidence, it just evaporated. It melted right off him when he realized what he'd done, and that, for the first time, I wasn't going to save him. Hello everyone. Thank you for being here with me today. Before I begin my story, I'd love to know which city you're joining us from. Please feel free to share in the comments. Now, let me take you into this story. I'm Meredith, by the way. I'm 27. And I learned this past year that sometimes, the best response to entitlement, that crazy, look at me entitlement, is just nothing. You just get out of the way. You step aside, let people make their choices, and then you let them live with the consequences. I'd been with Julian for about a year and a half. He's 25, and he works in fashion marketing. And I mean, he works in it. He lives it. That's how we met, actually. My friend was having her first little art show at a downtown gallery, and I went to support her. The place was full of these very serious, very quiet people, all wearing black. And then, there was Julian. He was like a peacock in a flock of crows. He was wearing this incredible, electric blue suit, perfectly tailored, with a bright yellow pocket square. He wasn't just at the party, he was the party. He was charming, he was funny, and he had this aura. This confidence that could fill a room. He walked right up to me, smiled, and said, "That painting is terrible, but your dress is fantastic." Hi, I'm Julian. I was hooked. For the first few months, it was amazing. I, who usually lived in jeans and sweaters, was suddenly going to gallery openings, to fashion week previews, to these exclusive little parties. He made life feel brighter. More exciting. I loved that about him. I really did. I thought, here's a man who knows who he is, who isn't afraid to be seen. But you know how it is. You date someone long enough, and the things you first loved they start to show their shadow. The shine wears off, and you see what's underneath. I started to notice that Julian didn't just like attention. He needed it. He craved it. It was like oxygen to him. And if the attention in a room wasn't on him, he would find a way to get it, to pull it toward him like a magnet. Every event, every single gathering, it didn't matter how big or small, it became his personal runway. It didn't matter what the occasion was. It was always, what is Julian wearing? And I'm not talking about just being the best dressed person in the room. I'm talking about being the most inappropriate person in the room, just so people would have to look at him. The first time it really bothered me was at my cousin's wedding. This was my cousin Sarah, a wonderful, sweet girl. It was a beautiful, traditional church wedding. She was in a gorgeous, simple white gown. Her husband-to-be, a nice guy named Mark, was in a classic black tux. The invitation said formal, black tie optional. I was excited. It was our first big family event together. I bought a new dress, a nice forest green one. Julian told me he had the perfect thing. I didn't think to ask. We were driving to the church, and he was humming, looking at himself in the visor mirror. "You look great, Mare," he said. "But wait until they see me." He got out of the car, and I froze. He was wearing a white tuxedo jacket. Not cream. Not off-white. Gleaming, bright white. With satin lapels. And it was embroidered. All down the back, in silver thread, was this huge, gaudy. I don't even know, a dragon? A peacock? He looked like a magician. Or, worse, he looked like the groom. "Julian," I whispered, pulling on his arm. "You can't. You're wearing white to a wedding." He just flipped his hair, annoyed. "What?" It's a classic look. It's Dior. God, Meredith, relax. It's fashion. People will love it. They won't love it. The bride is in white. You're not supposed to outshine the bride. Oh, outshine. Don't be so dramatic. Come on, we're late. I was mortified. We walked down the aisle to our pew, and I could feel the eyes. I heard a few people whisper. My aunt, the mother of the bride, just looked at me with this tight, frozen smile, and I wanted to crawl under the seat and die. At the reception, he was in his element. He held court by the bar, and people did talk to him. But it was that "can you believe this guy" kind of talk, which he just interpreted as adoration. The fight in the car on the way home was explosive. You embarrassed me, Julian. I embarrassed you? I was the life of the party. The groom even asked me where I got my jacket. He did not. I saw you corner him by the cake. Ugh, you're so controlling. You're trying to police what I wear. It's just clothes. You're so jealous that I have confidence. It's not confidence, Julian, it's arrogance. It wasn't your day. That was the first time he used that line on me. You're so controlling. It wouldn't be the last. But the worst, the absolute worst, was my great-aunt's funeral. My great-aunt Eleanor. A sweet, quiet old lady who lived a long life. It was a somber, quiet affair. A cold, rainy November day. Everyone was in black or dark gray, huddled under umbrellas at the cemetery. I was, obviously, upset. I was helping my mom with the arrangements, holding her hand. I told Julian, you don't have to come, you know. It's a sad day. Of course I'm coming, babe, he said, hugging me. I'm here to support you. I was touched. I thought, okay, see? He can be serious. The morning of, I was in my black dress, black tights, sensible shoes. Waiting by the door. Julian, come on, we're going to be late. He emerged from the bedroom. And I couldn't speak. He was wearing a bright, neon yellow tracksuit. Head to toe, highlighter yellow. The kind of thing you'd wear jogging at night so you wouldn't get hit by a car. I just stared. What is that? It's new, he said, zipping it up. It's a celebration of life, isn't it? I'm celebrating. It's a happy color. You're all so morbid. Julian, no. My voice was shaking. No. You are not wearing that. This is a funeral. My aunt just died. Go put on your black suit. Please. I don't want to wear my black suit. It's boring. You're trying to control me again. Aunt, what was her name again? She would have loved this. It's cheerful. Her name was Eleanor. I screamed. And she was my aunt. It is inappropriate, Julian. It is disrespectful. Fine. God. You're so controlling. He stormed back and came out 5 minutes later in his black suit, pouting like a child. He sulked the entire ceremony. He wouldn't hold my hand. He complained in the car on the way back that the vibe was so depressing. I should have dumped him right then. I see that now. But I was. I don't know, I was in it. I kept thinking I could fix him, or that the charming man I first met would come back. The red flags, as they say, just kept coming. They weren't flags anymore, they were billboards. My coworker, Sarah, a really sweet woman from accounting, was having her baby shower. It was a lovely, wholesome backyard party. Pink and blue balloons, little sandwiches, iced tea. Her mom was there, her aunts. Very low-key. Julian had promised to stop by with me for just a few minutes to show his face and drop off our gift. I was already there, chatting with my boss, when Julian arrived. Late. He walked right through the yard, past all these women and their husbands, wearing a see-through black mesh top. A mesh top. And these tiny, tiny athletic shorts that left nothing to the imagination. He called it athleisure chic. The party just stopped. The conversations died. Sarah, who was 8 months pregnant and already emotional, just stared at him with her mouth open, holding her glass of punch. Julian, completely oblivious, just strode over, kissed her on the cheek, and said, "Congrats, babe. Love the theme. So provincial." I grabbed our gift, threw it on the table, grabbed him by the arm, and dragged him out of there. I made up some excuse about a family emergency, my face burning red. "What the hell was that, Meredith?" he hissed as soon as we were in the car. "You were hurting my arm." "What was that?" I said, my voice shaking with humiliation. "It was a baby shower, Julian. Not a nightclub. My boss was there." "Oh my God, relax. It's a look. It's fashion. You're just so controlling. I can't be myself around your boring friends. I can wear whatever I want." And I gave up. I stared out the window, and I said, "You're right. You can." And I just stopped. From that day on, I stopped suggesting anything. I stopped commenting. I mentally checked out. If he wanted to express himself, fine. Let him. I was just so tired. I was tired of fighting, tired of being embarrassed. I was just done. I just didn't know how to make the final break. Then, about a month ago, my mom called. Mrs. Doyle. My mom is a very sweet, very proper woman. You know the type. Church on Sundays, always sends a thank you card, believes in appropriate everything. And when she called, she was beaming. I could hear the smile in her voice. "Meredith, honey, you won't believe it. The most wonderful news." "What is it, Mom?" "It's Eliza. She did it. She passed her boards. She got her final scores. She's officially Dr. Eliza Doyle." I screamed. I was so happy I was crying. My little sister, Eliza, the first doctor in our family. My sister is the best of us. She's smart, she's kind, she's non-confrontational, and she has worked so hard. I'm talking 8 years of medical school, all the debt. I mean, my parents' college fund for her ran out after the first 2 years, and she worked 2 jobs all through pre-med just to cover her books. She survived a residency that sounded like a horror story. She had put her entire life, her entire 20s, on hold. And she'd finally done it. "Oh, Mom, that's amazing. We have to do something. We have to celebrate." "I'm already on it," Mom said, and I could hear her shuffling papers. "I've booked a private room at the Crest Room for this Sunday. The whole family. Your aunts are flying in from Chicago. It's going to be a real celebration. The Crest Room." I whistled. This was the nicest restaurant in the city. The kind of place with a dress code, and waiters who pull out your chair and crumble the bread onto a little silver plate. The kind of place you go for a major 50th anniversary, or when you get a massive promotion and a salary boost. "Mom, that's serious. That's expensive." "She deserves it," Mom said firmly. "After all that work, she deserves one perfect night. This is a special night for Eliza, Meredith. It's formal. I'm even buying a new dress. Your father is getting his good suit dry cleaned." And then, her voice tightened, just a little. "So, tell Julian, too. Formal. Please, please make sure he understands. We want this to be perfect. For Eliza. That little pause. Please make sure he understands. My mom knew. She'd been at that wedding. She'd heard, in horrified whispers, about the funeral. She knew. A cold little knot formed in my stomach. I'll tell him, Mom. Don't worry. Formal. Got it. We'll be there. I'm so proud of her. We hung up, and I just sat there for a minute. This was not my night. This was not my mom's night. This was Eliza's night. And I swore I would not let Julian ruin it. I waited until that evening. I was determined to handle this differently. No yelling, no pleading. Just facts. Julian was on the couch, scrolling through his phone, probably looking at Italian menswear blogs. Hey, I said. I sat on the coffee table, right in his line of sight, to make sure he'd look at me. Hey, he said, not looking up. Got some amazing news. My mom called. Aha. Eliza passed her boards. She's officially a doctor. Oh. Cool. That's great. He double-tapped something on his phone. So, the whole family is going out to celebrate this Sunday. It's a really big deal. Mom booked a private room at the Crust Room. That got his attention. His head snapped up. The Crust Room? Seriously? Nice. I've been wanting to go there. Their wine list is supposed to be epic. His interest was only piqued by the status of the restaurant. Not by my sister's achievement. That should have told me everything. Yeah, I said, keeping my voice level. So, the whole family will be there. My aunts are flying in. And Mom was very clear, it's a formal event. The restaurant has a strict dress code. Your dad's wearing his good suit, Mom's buying a new dress. It's a very traditional, formal place. I laid it all out. Clear. Concise. No room for misunderstanding. He looked at me. And his face just soured. That familiar, pouty annoyance. God, Meredith. Why are you already starting? Starting what? I was genuinely confused. I'm just telling you what Mom said. You're telling me. You're already trying to control what I wear. Formal. Strict dress code. Traditional. I heard you. You're trying to put me in a box. Julian, it's not me. It's the restaurant. It's a fancy place. I'm just passing on the information so you know what to wear. I'm not a child, he snapped, standing up. I think I know how to dress for a nice restaurant. God, you're so controlling. You just want me to be boring, like your family. And in that moment, something in me didn't just snap. It turned to ice. All the fighting, all the pleading, all the embarrassment of the last year and a half, it just vanished. And all that was left was this cold, hard clarity. I looked at him, this beautiful, selfish man, and I was done. I stood up, too. And I smiled. A little, tight smile. You know what, Julian? You're absolutely right. He blinked, confused. He was geared up for a fight. I am? Yes. You're not a child. You're a 25-year-old man. And you're right, I'm not your mother, and I'm not going to control you. You know the dress code. It's formal. At the Crust Room. On Sunday. For Eliza. I'm sure you know exactly how to dress yourself. I went to the bedroom, leaving him standing there. Where are you going? He called after me, annoyed. To find something to wear for my sister's party. I called back. Whatever, he muttered, and I heard the sound of him sitting back on the couch and the tap-tap-tap of him scrolling on his phone again. I closed the bedroom door. And I just leaned against it. Okay, I whispered to myself. Okay. Let's see. Sunday arrived. I spent the afternoon getting ready, but it was different. For the first time before a big event, I wasn't nervous. I wasn't a ball of anxiety. I wasn't running back and forth, gently suggesting shirt options to Julian. I wasn't trying to pre-manage his ego or his outfit. I was just calm. I took a long bath. I put on music. I did my hair, taking my time. I put on my best dress, a simple, elegant navy blue sheath dress. Classic pearls. Simple nude heels. I looked appropriate. I looked classic. I looked like a woman going to celebrate her sister at a nice restaurant. I felt good. I felt proud of Eliza. I was excited to see my aunts. I was finishing my makeup, just putting on lipstick, when the bedroom door opened and Julian emerged. And wow. I had to put my lipstick down because my hand was shaking. He was wearing a jumpsuit. A full-body jumpsuit. Made of metallic, silver, sequined fabric. It was skin-tight. It looked like something an astronaut would wear if that astronaut was going to a disco on the moon. It glittered under the lights. It was short. It was a full-length jumpsuit, but it was so tight it was riding up everywhere. And the neckline, oh, the neckline. It was unzipped. Plunged. Almost to his navel. It was showing off his entire, smooth chest, which he'd apparently oiled. He paired this creation with a pair of snakeskin-patterned, high-heeled boots. Boots that added a good 3 inches to his height. His makeup was in full force. We're talking guyliner so thick he looked like a raccoon, silver glitter on his cheekbones, and his hair was slicked back so tightly it looked painful. He looked, and I am not exaggerating, like he was heading to a music video shoot. Or a New Year's Eve party in 1978. He did not look like he was going to a formal family dinner at the Crust Room. He struck a pose in the doorway, one hand on his hip, pouting his lips. Ready? He asked, grabbing his tiny, ridiculous silver clutch. The old Meredith would have gasped. She would have burst into tears. She would have said, Julian, absolutely not. Go change. This is for Eliza. This is formal. You're ruining everything. We would have had a screaming match. We would have been an hour late. I would have been crying, my makeup ruined, and he would have been sulking, or he would have won and worn it anyway. But I wasn't the old Meredith. I looked at him. I looked at the silver sequins. I looked at the oiled chest. I took a slow, calm breath. And I smiled. Absolutely, I said, picking up my own simple purse. You look memorable. He preened. He actually puffed out his glittery chest. I know, right? He said, strutting over to the mirror. It's vintage. Your family is going to die. This piece cost more than some people's rent. They're going to be obsessed. I just nodded, walking to the door. I am sure they are going to have very strong reactions. The drive over was quiet. But a new kind of quiet. It wasn't the tense, angry quiet of me seething and him pouting. It was the quiet of me just observing. He was taking selfies the whole way. I'm not kidding. The whole way. Adjusting his hair in the visor mirror. Checking his angles. Pouting his lips. The lighting in this car is terrible, he muttered. He was so wrapped up in himself, so lost in his own reflection, he didn't even notice I was silent. And I wasn't thinking about him. For the first time, I was thinking about my sister. I was thinking about Eliza, who had spent the last 8 years of her life in cheap scrubs and comfortable shoes. I was thinking about her studying under a flickering library light. I was thinking about her surviving a 36-hour residency shift. I was thinking about her, with no money and no sleep, learning how to literally save people's lives. And tonight was her night. And this glitterball next to me, was going to try and steal it. And I just let him. I just kept driving. We pulled up to the restaurant. Valet parking, a doorman in a top hat, the whole 9 yards. This was a serious place. The walls were dark wood, the lighting was low. You could hear the gentle clink of real silver. I handed the keys to the valet. I could see through the big picture windows. Our family was already there, gathered at a long table in a private alcove. I saw my mom in an elegant emerald green dress. My dad, looking proud in his good dark suit. And I saw Eliza. My sister. She was wearing a beautiful, deep burgundy cocktail dress, her hair was blown out, and she just looked happy. She looked accomplished. She looked like a doctor. I felt a surge of love for her. I held the door for Julian. After you, I said. Julian strutted in. He didn't just walk. He strutted. Like it was his personal catwalk. The hostess, a very poised, elegant woman in a black suit, was at the podium. She looked up, a professional smile on her face. Good evening, Welk. And her voice just died. Her eyes went from Julian's glittery face, down to the oiled chest, down to the skin-tight, everything, down to the snakeskin boots, and then slowly, back up again. Her professional smile faltered. It was just a frozen, terrified grimace. Good evening, she said again, her voice a little strained. Can I help you? We're with the Doyle party, I said, stepping up next to him. Her eyes flickered to me, to my simple navy dress, and I could see the relief wash over her. Oh, okay, one of them is normal. Of course, she said, her composure returning. The Doyle party. Right this way. She picked up the menus. The walk to that table, it felt like it took an hour. It felt like I was walking on the surface of the sun. It was like that scene in a movie where everything goes into slow motion. The restaurant, as I said, wasn't loud, but it had that pleasant, low hum of conversation and silverware. The moment Julian started walking, that hum just stopped. It wasn't completely silent, but it was that hush that happens when something completely, wildly inappropriate occurs in a very nice place. Forks paused mid-air. Conversations just stopped. Mid-sentence. I could feel every eye in that restaurant on us. On him. A woman at one table literally put her napkin over her mouth. A man at another table choked on his wine. And Julian? He was eating it up. He thought they were all admiring him. He did a little oh, hello wave to a table of strangers. And then, we got to the table. My family's reactions, oh, it was a masterclass in Midwestern politeness barely containing pure, unadulterated horror. My mom, her smile froze on her face. It looked like it was carved from ice. Her eyes were wide as saucers. My dad suddenly became fascinated by his water glass. He picked it up, stared into it, and did not look up for a full 30 seconds. My older sister, Grace, who was sitting next to her husband, just whispered something to him, and he coughed violently to cover a laugh, turning purple. And Eliza. Sweet, non-confrontational Eliza, she just stared. Her mouth was slightly open, and she was just staring. Like he was an alien who had just landed. Julian, completely, blissfully, 100% oblivious, spread his arms wide. Hi everyone, he announced, his voice way too loud for the room. Sorry we're late. Traffic was crazy. We weren't late. We were perfectly on time. My mom recovered first. Years of being a polite hostess kicked in. Julian, she said, and her voice was a strained, high-pitched squeak. How nice to see you. That's quite an outfit. Julian beamed. He thought it was a compliment. Isn't it amazing? He said, doing a little turn. The sequins caught the light and shot little daggers of light into my father's eyes. It's from an exclusive collection. You've probably never heard of the designer. I'm sure I haven't, my dad muttered into his water glass. Well, sit down, Mom said, gesturing frantically. We sat. The silence at the table was deafening. My aunts were just staring. And then, a waiter appeared. Instantly. I am 90% sure the hostess had hit a silent panic button. He was a tall, very professional man. A manager, maybe. He had that air about him. And he did not blink. Good evening, he said in a low, polite voice. He looked around the table. Welcome to the Crest Room. He looked at my father. He looked at my mother. And then his eyes landed on Julian. And they just stayed there. He didn't gasp. He didn't react. He just looked. Before we begin, he said, his voice still low and polite, but firm. Sir, he said, looking directly at Julian. I'm afraid I must mention that we have a dress code policy. Julian laughed. He actually laughed. Oh, I'm sure it's fine. I'm wearing a $3,000 designer piece. The waiter did not smile. Yes, sir. I can appreciate that. However, our policy requires appropriate coverage for all diners. Jacket and collared shirt for gentlemen. The table was silent. Eliza was looking at her plate. My Aunt Linda was taking a very, very long sip of wine. Julian's smile vanished. Are you serious? His voice went up an octave. You're telling me what to wear? This is discrimination. This is a designer outfit. Not at all, sir, the waiter said, unruffled. It is simply our restaurant's policy. We would be happy to provide a wrap for you. Or perhaps a loaner jacket? A wrap? Julian shrieked. A wrap? Like some gross, communal shawl? I am not wearing some gross communal shawl. Do you know who I am? The waiter just looked at him. You are a guest, sir. And these are our rules. If you cannot comply, I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to leave. This was it. The moment. Julian's head whipped around to face me. His eyes were blazing. Meredith! Are you hearing this? Are you going to let him talk to me like this? Are you taking their side? You set me up. What? I said, and my voice was calm. It was amazing how calm I was. How did I set you up, Julian? You knew. You knew about this. You wanted me to be embarrassed. I knew it was a formal restaurant, yes, I said, and I looked around the table. I told you that. I told you there was a dress code. I'm wearing a dress. Dad's in a suit. Eliza's in a cocktail dress. What did you think formal meant? This is formal, he shrieked, gesturing to his sequin chest. This is high fashion. Julian, I said, and my voice was cold. Colder than I'd ever heard it. You told me you knew how to dress yourself. You told me you weren't a child. You're a grown man. These are the consequences of your choice. Meredith, please, my mom intervened, looking horrified at the scene. Let's not make a scene. Julian, the shawl might be nice. It is a bit chilly in here. It was not chilly. The room was perfectly temperature controlled. Mom was just trying to save the evening, God bless her. But that was it for Julian. He'd been challenged. He'd been given rules. And he'd been told no. He stood up. Abruptly. His chair scraped loudly on the marble floor. "This is ridiculous," he announced to the entire restaurant. I am being shamed for expressing myself. This whole place is classist and disgusting." "No one is shaming you," Eliza said. And her voice, it was quiet, but it was strong. It was the first time I'd heard her use her doctor voice. It was the voice of someone who has seen real problems, and this was not one. "No one is shaming you," she repeated, looking right at him. "We just want to have dinner. To celebrate. This isn't about you." Oh, that was the wrong thing to say. Julian turned on her. His face was ugly, twisted with rage. "Oh," he sneered. "So now the golden child speaks. Must be nice, having everyone cater to you. This whole ridiculous, expensive dinner, just for you. All this fuss, just because you passed a test." Record scratch. The entire restaurant went silent now. You could hear a pin drop. Eliza's face, she looked like he'd slapped her. Her eyes filled with tears, and she just crumpled. "Excuse me," my dad said, and his voice was dangerously low. He started to stand up. "You heard me." Julian spat, looking at my sister with pure venom. "This whole dinner is just another example of your family's obsession with appearances. Sorry, I'm not boring like the rest of you." That was it. I stood up. "Okay, we're leaving." "We are not going anywhere," he said, his voice cracking. "I haven't even ordered. You can't make me leave." "Julian," I said, and my voice cut through the silence. It was loud, and it was clear, and I didn't care who heard. "We are leaving. Now. You can't make me." I picked up my purse. I looked him dead in the eye. "You're right. I can't. You're a grown man. I can't make you do anything." "That's right," he said, crossing his arms. "But I am leaving," I continued. And I drove. "You can either come with me, right now, or you can figure out your own way home. In your jumpsuit and your snakeskin boots. Your choice." He looked at me. And he looked around the table, a wild, panicked look in his eyes. He was expecting someone to defend him. For someone to say, "Oh, Meredith, don't be like that, it's fine, let him stay. We'll get the shawl." But no one did. My mom was suddenly, desperately studying her menu like it was the most interesting book she'd ever read. My dad was flagging down the waiter, pointedly looking away from Julian, and ordering a drink. My sister Grace was reapplying her lip gloss. And Eliza just picked up her water glass, looked him dead in the eye, and took a slow, deliberate sip. His face fell. That arrogance, that look at me confidence, it just evaporated. He was left standing there, in his ridiculous, shiny jumpsuit, all alone. And he knew it. "Fine," he shrieked. "Fine. This family is toxic anyway." He grabbed his tiny silver purse. "And you," he pointed at me. "We are done." "I know," I said. He stormed out of the restaurant. His heels clicked angrily on the marble floor. The entire restaurant watched him go. The doorman, God bless him, held the door open with a perfectly straight face. I stood there for a second. The silence he left behind was ringing. I turned to my sister. My hands were shaking. "Eliza. I am so sorry. This is your night. I'll take him home. I'll come back. I'll get a cab. I'm so sorry. Eliza looked up at me. And she smiled. A small, watery smile, but it was a smile. Meredith, she said, and she reached out and grabbed my hand. Sit down. But, I need to. He made his choice, Meredith. You told him. He made his choice. You did nothing wrong. She squeezed my hand. Now, sit down. I want my big sister here. My dad nodded. Sit down, honey. The show's over. So. I sat down. My hands were still shaking. And my sister Grace's husband flagged the waiter. Excuse me, he said, his voice cheerful. I think we'll take a bottle of the Pinot Noir. The good one. The 2018, sir, the waiter asked, all professionalism again, as if nothing had happened. That's the one. And we are ready to order whenever you are. And you know what? The dinner, after that, it was wonderful. It was like a storm had passed. Once the glittery elephant had left the room, everyone relaxed. We started talking. We laughed. We toasted Eliza. My dad stood up and gave a speech. He talked about her being a little girl with a plastic stethoscope who used to diagnose the dog. He talked about her working 2 jobs to pay for her college books. He talked about how proud he was, and he made everyone at the table cry. My mom had ordered a special cake, and the restaurant dimmed the lights and brought it out with sparklers. The other diners, the ones who had seen the whole spectacle, they must have figured out what was going on, because they all started to applaud. For Eliza. It was beautiful. It was her night. My phone buzzed in my purse. Over and over. Text after text. A call. Another text. I didn't look at it. I just ignored it. I talked to my aunts about their trip. I ate my very expensive, very delicious steak. I celebrated my sister. I finally got home around 11. I was braced for a fight. I was sure he'd be there, pacing, ready to scream at me. I walked into my apartment, and it was empty. His key was on the counter. Next to it was a note, scribbled on the back of a receipt. At Kian's. Don't bother calling. You showed your true colors tonight. You abandoned me. We are done. I looked at the note. I looked at the key. And I felt nothing. No, that's not true. I felt relief. A huge, rolling wave of it. Like a 500-pound weight had been lifted off my chest. I didn't call. I took off my heels, made a cup of tea, and slept for 10 solid hours. The next morning, Monday, the text started again. I woke up to a barrage. I cannot believe you abandoned me like that. My friends are horrified. Kian said he's never seen such cruel behavior. Your family is classist and abusive. That restaurant was discriminatory and I'm going to sue them. You should have defended me. You're my girlfriend. Or, you were. Are you seriously not going to apologize? Meredith. Meredith. Fine. Ignore me. Real mature. And then, an hour later. We need to talk about this. You can't just end a 1.5 year relationship like this. I'm coming over tonight. We need to talk. He didn't ask. He told me. I just texted back, no. We're done, Julian. There's nothing to talk about. Don't come here. His response, you can't break up with me over text. That's cowardly. I'm coming over at 7 to get the rest of my stuff. He didn't really have much stuff there. A toothbrush, some outrageously expensive face cream, a few shirts. But, fine. I wanted this over. Fine, I texted back. 7 p.m. Get your things and go. At 7 p.m. on the dot, my buzzer rang. I let him up. And of course, he wasn't alone. He'd brought Kian. For backup. For an audience. He started before he was even fully inside. You humiliated me, he yelled, stalking into my living room. Kian stood in the doorway, glaring at me like I was a monster. I just crossed my arms. I was so tired, but I was also so angry. No, Julian, I said, my voice flat. You humiliated yourself. And more importantly, you tried to make my sister's graduation dinner all about you. You insulted her. You called her a golden child on a night that she worked 8 years for. That's why we're done. I didn't know it was that big of a deal, he yelled. I told you. I yelled back. My mom told you. The restaurant told you. You just didn't want to listen because the rules didn't apply to you. You set me up, he accused. You wanted this to happen. You were jealous. Jealous? Jealous of what? Your jumpsuit? Jealous of my style. My confidence. You wanted to bring me down. Julian, I'm too tired for this. Get your things. Kian, from the doorway, jumped in. You could have warned him, Meredith. You know how he is. You could have told him his outfit was a lot. I did warn him, I said, my voice ice cold. I told him the dress code. He told me he wasn't a child and that he knew how to dress himself. Was I supposed to physically restrain him? Lock him in the closet? He's a grown man. That's not the same. Julian was rage-crying now, big, ugly, crocodile tears. It's exactly the same. Formal and dress code are standard things adults understand, Julian. I wanted to celebrate my sister. You wanted attention. You got it. I'm done. We are over. He stared at me, his mouth open. You're really doing this? After everything? Yes. Get your things and go. You are going to regret this, Meredith. You'll never find anyone who dresses as well as me. Or who is as exciting as me. Okay, I said. He blinked. The tears stopped. Okay? That's it? Okay? Yeah. Okay. What do you want me to say? You made everything about you. You insulted my family. You called my sister the golden child at her own graduation dinner, and now you're in my apartment yelling at me with your little friend. Yeah. Okay. We're done. Get your stuff. He grabbed his things, his $200 face cream, his silk shirt, his toothbrush. He threw them in his bag while Kian glared at me from the doorway. As they were leaving, Kian turned and said, "He deserves so much better than you." I just smiled. Probably. Good thing he's free to find it now. Goodbye, Kian. I shut the door, locked it, and bolted it. And I leaned against it. And I finally cried. Not for him. But for me. For being so stupid for so long. And for finally being free. That was 2 weeks ago. In those 2 weeks, I heard through mutual friends that Julian was telling everyone a completely different story. In his version, I was the controlling, manipulative, gaslighting one. That I had set him up to fail at the dinner because I was jealous of his style. He, of course, left out the part where he insulted a newly graduated doctor at her own celebration. But here's the thing. I didn't care. I really didn't. The people who matter, my family, my real friends, they knew the truth. My sister Eliza texted me the next day. Thank you for handling that so well. You're the best big sister. Also, Mom wants to know if you're bringing anyone to Thanksgiving. Someone who understands the phrase appropriate attire preferred. Haha. My mom called, too. Meredith, honey, I'm so proud of how you handled that. You were so strong. Though next time, maybe check his outfit before you leave the house. There won't be a next time, Mom. At least, not with him. Good, she said, and the relief in her voice was palpable. I thought I was done with this story. I really did. I blocked Julian on everything. Phone, Instagram, all of it. I started playing in a rec league basketball team, just to get out of the house. I caught up with friends I'd neglected while I was busy managing him. I even went on a couple of casual, easy dates with a nice guy from my office. Just coffee. It was normal. It was nice. Life was good. Then, the entitlement escalated. In ways I truly, deeply, did not see coming. I got a call last week from my credit card company. Ms. Doyle? We're calling about some unusual charges on your Visa card. I froze. What charges? I haven't used my card today. Well, there was an attempted purchase online for $4,000 worth of designer sneakers and handbags from a high-end fashion website. My blood ran cold. $4,000? Yes, ma'am. We flagged it as suspicious. The shipping address, it's not your primary address. It's listed to an apartment under the name. Kian? Kian. His friend. He kept my credit card info. Months ago, I'd let him use it for an emergency, and he must have saved it to his browser. That is fraud, I said, my voice shaking. I did not authorize that. That is my ex-boyfriend. We broke up weeks ago. We'll dispute the charges immediately, Ms. Doyle, and cancel the card. We recommend you file a police report for fraud. I did. I went straight to the police station. I was shaking. The detective was very helpful. He said it was pretty open and shut, since the shipping address wasn't mine and I had text messages proving the relationship ended weeks ago. But Julian wasn't done. 2 days later, I got an email. At my work email. The subject line, invoice, relationship compensation. I just stared at it. Invoice? I opened it. Dear Meredith, I have been thinking about our relationship and realized that you owe me compensation. I invested 1.5 years of my life in us. I turned down professional opportunities because I was committed to you. I personally decorated your apartment. I enhanced your social life. After careful calculation, you owe me $50,000 for my time and emotional labor. This is non-negotiable. A payment plan is attached. Sincerely, Julian. He had attached an actual invoice. An Excel spreadsheet. With line items. Relationship management, $15,000 social enhancement services, $8,000 aesthetic improvements to living space, $5,000 emotional support, $10,000 event planning and coordination, $7,000 opportunity cost, $5,000 total due, $50,000. I just stared. I thought it was a joke. A sick, twisted joke. But then I saw who he had CC'd. He had CC'd my boss. He had CC'd our HR department. And somehow, he had found my father's work email and CC'd him, too. My office phone rang 2 minutes later. It was my boss. Meredith, can you come into my office? And bring your laptop. I walked in, my legs feeling like jelly. Mr. Harrison, I can explain. Meredith, he said, shaking his head as he looked at his screen. What the hell is this? I explained the whole situation. The breakup, the dinner, the credit card fraud. He just listened, his expression getting grimmer. Your ex is creative, he said. I'll give him that. Also, completely insane. You need a lawyer. And probably a restraining order. This is harassment. HR was less amused. They had to document everything because he'd involved the company. The legal department got involved when Julian sent a follow-up email threatening to sue my company for enabling emotional abuse by employing a narcissist. It was a nightmare. I thought I might lose my salary, my job. But my dad's reaction? My dad's reaction was legendary. My father, Mr. Doyle, is a man of few words. But when he speaks, it counts. He hit. Reply all. He replied to Julian, to my boss, to HR, to everyone. His email said, Dear Mr. Thank you for your invoice. I've reviewed it and prepared my own, on behalf of the Doyle family. Ruining my daughter Eliza's graduation dinner, $5,000 therapy for my family members after witnessing your behavior, $3,000 dry cleaning for the restaurant shawl you called gross, $50 emotional distress caused to my daughter Meredith, $20,000 teaching my daughter to recognize red flags and avoid a terrible divorce lawyer fee in the future, priceless. Please remit payment immediately. Otherwise, we will see you in court for the credit card fraud you've already committed. Best. Mr. Doyle. My boss actually printed it out and pinned it in his cubicle. But Julian still wasn't done. He showed up at my apartment building on Thursday. He somehow got past the front door when someone else was leaving. And he started knocking on every apartment on my floor. He was banging on doors, asking for me. My neighbor, Mrs. Finch, a 70-year-old retired teacher who takes no crap from anyone, called me immediately. Meredith, dear? Hi, Mrs. Finch, is everything okay? Tommy, there's a crazy young man, in a very weird, shiny, is that a jumpsuit? He's banging on doors, says he's your fiancé. My heart stopped. He's not my fiancé, Mrs. Finch. He's my ex. Please, call the police. Already did, honey, she said calmly. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Also, he's telling Mrs. Petrovich that you're pregnant with his child and stole his grandmother's ring. I'm not. I didn't. He doesn't even talk to his grandmother. I figured, dear. He's wearing a full metallic outfit to a residential building on a Thursday afternoon. The police are on their way. By the time I got home, the police had already removed him. He'd apparently told them he lived there, but couldn't produce a key, an ID with the address, or any proof. When they asked which apartment, he got the number wrong. The building management was not happy. They issued a no trespass order and circulated his photo to all staff. Surely, that was the end. Right? Wrong. Friday morning, I went down to the garage to find my car. Keyed. Both sides. Long, deep, angry scratches all the way down. But here's the thing about Julian. He's an idiot. I park in a secure, gated garage. With cameras. Lots of cameras. I went to the building manager. We pulled the footage. And there he was. 3 a.m. In another metallic outfit, this time, it was gold lame pants. Crystal clear footage of him, key in hand, just digging into my car doors. How'd he get in? He still had the garage clicker I'd given him months ago. This time, the police were very interested. We had credit card fraud. Harassment at my workplace. Trespassing. And now, felony vandalism. The detective sat me down. Ms. Doyle, I'm going to be straight with you. This is escalating. You need a restraining order. Yesterday. I filed that afternoon. I hired a lawyer friend to help. An emergency order was granted immediately based on the mountain of evidence. The police report, the emails, the trespassing report, the crystal clear vandalism footage. A court date was set for a permanent order. But the universe has a sense of humor. Guess who was at the courthouse at the same time I was, fighting a ticket for parking in a handicapped space? Yep. He saw me. Across the lobby. With my lawyer. And he immediately started screaming. She's harassing me. She's stalking me. Get her away from me. Harassment. In a courthouse. With about 20 police officers present. It did not go well for him. He was immediately cited for contempt after that little meltdown. My lawyer met his lawyer in the hallway. Your client willing to drop the fraud and vandalism charges if mine agrees to the restraining order without contest? My lawyer just laughed. Absolutely not. He committed felony fraud. He damaged her vehicle. He's harassing her workplace. We're pursuing everything. See you at the hearing. The permanent restraining order hearing was yesterday. And Julian showed up. I kid you not, in a metallic gold pantsuit. Like he was going for a complete metallic outfit collection. The judge was a wonderful, no-nonsense woman. She reviewed the evidence. The $4,000 fraudulent charges. The $50,000 invoice emailed to my boss. The trespassing report from Mrs. Finch. The crystal clear video of him keying my car. The contempt citation from his hallway screaming match. It took her about 5 minutes. Mister, she said. Do you have anything to say for yourself? And Julian, bless his heart, he tried to argue. He stood up, in his gold suit, and said, Your Honor, I am the real victim here. She is the abuser. She emotionally manipulated me for years. She set me up. The judge actually paused, putting down her glasses. Set you up? Set you up for what? For the dinner. She set me up to fail. She knew I would be embarrassed. The judge just stared at him. Let me get this straight. You are arguing that the plaintiff abused you by not telling you how to dress? Yes, he said, like he'd made a brilliant point. The judge looked at him. She looked at me. She looked back at him. Son, she said, and her voice was tired. That isn't abuse. That's you making poor choices. And all of this, she gestured to the pile of evidence, the fraud, the vandalism, the harassment, this is you making criminal choices. Restraining order granted. 500 feet. You are to stay away from Ms. Doyle, her home, her workplace, and her family members. Any violation will result in your immediate arrest. We are done here. Can you believe it? Right there, in that courtroom, I almost wanted to cry, I was so relieved. If you're still listening to this, right here, could you do me a favor? Please help me like this video and comment with the number 1 down below. It lets me know that you're here, that you're amazing, and that you're with me on this crazy journey. Your support, it's just a huge encouragement for me. It really is. So just comment with the number 1 so I can see you. And now, you have to hear the very last part of this story. As we left, my lawyer, who had been amazing, just smiled at me. You know, he said, the metallic outfit collection really helped our case. It's hard to argue you're a stable, victimized person when you're dressed like that for a 9 a.m. court hearing. The last I heard, Julian is facing the credit card fraud charges, felony vandalism charges, and the trespassing charges. He was also, predictably, fired from his fashion marketing job. Turns out, using company resources in your work email to harass your ex and commit fraud, well, it violates most employee handbooks. Who knew? His Instagram is private now. But a mutual acquaintance showed me his last post. It was a picture of him, pouting, with a caption, "Sometimes the universe tests you by putting toxic people in your path. Rising above the negativity and manifesting better things. #blessed, #new beginnings, #karma Israel." The lack of self-awareness, it's almost impressive. My sister Eliza texted me yesterday. Heard about the restraining order? Yes. Also, Mom wants to know if the order covers Thanksgiving. She's already planning the menu and wants to make sure there won't be any metallic interruptions. Her words. I'm getting a new apartment next month. A fresh start. The building has better security, no shared garage clickers, and Mrs. Finch already gave me 3 references for nice young men who dress appropriately. To everyone who might ask if I saw the signs, yeah. Looking back, they were all there. The constant, desperate need for attention. The inability to read a social cue. The way he turned every single event into his personal showcase. I thought it was confidence. Turns out, there's a very fine line between confidence and complete, pathological narcissism. But hey, at least I learned something. Next time someone tells me I'm being controlling for sharing basic, adult social expectations, I'll take that as my cue to exit. And I'll definitely change my credit card numbers. Oh, one last update. A final edit. I just got word from my lawyer. Julian took a plea deal. He got probation and has to pay full restitution. That means he has to pay back the attempted $4,000 in fraud and pay for the full damages to my car. The vandalism and trespassing charges were rolled into the plea. But the best part? The absolute best part of his probation? He has to take anger management classes. And the anger management classes, they have a dress code. Business casual attire required. The universe really, really does have a sense of humor. Thanks for listening to my story, everyone. It feels so good to finally get that all off my chest. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.